Episode 84, going out to Webster Slaughter. Ted, I know that's one of your favorite football players of all time. I don't know how it can't be. How many Websters do you know besides the one that was on TV?
Yeah, well, there's Don Webster. There's
Don Webster.
Yeah, Don Webster.
Famous Clevelander.
The guy that wrote the dictionary. We got him.
Mike Webster. He played for the Steelers, right?
Yep. That's I think that's it on the Websters.
Websters. Well, it's two middle-aged men in Cleveland. Ted, big day for us. It's the day before St. Patrick's Day, or for many people, St. Practice Day. You practice to make yourself a good drinker, I guess.
I don't think we need practice.
I know we talked to Jen today, later in our show, from Destination Cleveland, to talk about all the different events coming up. But how crazy is it going to be downtown tomorrow? I mean, let's be honest. People have not had a parade in over 2 years, and I got a sense of what things are like now because I went down to the MAC championship game last Saturday, and I'm not going to lie, it was really busy. So I imagine that's how it's going to be on Thursday.
You know where our office is, and I'm not sure that I'm going to get near this building Thursday. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know where the parade route is. You could be.
I could be toast here. This could be like the Cavs championship there back in 2016. We had people, thank goodness we didn't have any deliveries that day. We had people parking illegally in front of our garage.
Oh, yeah.
Great stuff.
Guys. Well, I imagine Danny's Deli, who I know is basically across the street from you guys, they'll be busy. Let's be honest.
I would think there'll be a lot of corned beef served that day.
A busy day.
Yeah.
A very busy day.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to give you an update. I know we support a lot of different groups and all that. And I know one that certainly for you and I certainly means a lot because we certainly donated to this group as well. The first annual Danny Repepe Memorial Concert that certainly Ed Repepe, who's the tour manager for Night Ranger, was on our show. And then we had the opportunity to talk to Night Ranger as well. Well, they announced the recipients of the SRT K9 unit police K9 grants, which is basically the vests that they have for the different dogs. And those vests are going to the following police departments, which I just think is outstanding: Brunswick, Cleveland, Euclid, Metro Health, and also Parma Heights. And the goal was to purchase 4 K9 units with the success of the first concert. And through all of the money that they raised, they were able to purchase not 4, but 5 police dogs for the greater Cleveland area. Isn't that outstanding?
That's great.
Just go above and beyond what you think you're going to do. And obviously those dogs certainly help people in many different ways, and certainly the police departments and all that. And there's also an announcement. They're going to have the second annual Danny Memorial Concert that will be coming up in late fall for 2022. Details will be coming out soon, but looking forward to being part of that as well. But what a great organization, and hats off to the Repepe family, as well as everyone involved for that great donation to those police departments. Very cool. That's awesome.
Doesn't get any better than that. That's for sure.
No, that's great stuff.
Always good to support the men in blue. They need it, perhaps now more than ever.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, coming up on this week's show as we move right along, Ken is back out and about. We're going to hear about his travels, his activities. We're going to find out where he has been. He also has a St. Patrick's Day themed, You Can Really Buy This. We're ready for that. We have good news about a 188-year-old bell. A bell that's 188 years old. In our Cleveland history segment, we're going to talk about one of Cleveland's iconic downtown department stores. Paul Branigan is also here. He has written a biography of Eddie Van Halen, arguably one of the greatest, perhaps the greatest guitarist of all time. Here in the home of rock and roll, why not talk about that? And in Klopp's Klips, Ken, you won't believe what a guy did with a AA battery.
Ted, I think all the segments that I do are your favorite segments, but I think one that really is close to your heart is certainly You Can Really Buy This. And today,
it's certainly the most recent.
It's a big day. It's the day before St. Patrick's Day, and I want to make sure that everyone is ready. Mm-hmm. Now, the big thing with this holiday is you have to have the right garb. Is that not important?
Absolutely.
I mean, you need to have the proper hat, certainly the proper pants, shoes, socks, but I think most importantly in this is a shirt. Not just because, I mean, obviously people don't want to see me with a shirt off. I look like Chewbacca. But the other thing is that you want to have something that people remember.
Yeah. Well,
so I have come up with a few different T-shirt themes that you can go out and buy right now. And I think this will certainly lighten the mood for everybody. And I think they'll certainly remember your T-shirt.
Okay.
So we'll start with the first one. I think this could certainly fall at any point in time, but this shirt says, "I wonder if beer thinks about me too." I thought that was very fitting. Another shirt that goes along with this is basically at the top it says, "Do I want beer?" And the answers are A, B, and C. A being yes, B being A, and C being B. Yes, do I want beer?
Okay.
Let's get ready to stumble with two beers hitting each other. I thought you would like that.
Let's get ready to stumble.
You can always go the Donald Trump route, which obviously many different people do, and you see a lot of memes. This one says, "Make St. Patty's Day great again," with a picture of Donald Trump on it.
Do you think Donald Trump thinks St. Patrick's Day is a fake holiday?
You know, that's a possibility. It's a possibility. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Another shirt, "I'm into fitness," and has a picture of a beer bottle, and underneath it says, "Fitness beer in my belly."
Okay.
So I thought that was good. Another shirt that says, "May contain alcohol." Another one that says,
about that?
No, "Go luck yourself." I thought that was good. "May the luck of the Irish be with you."
Yeah. And also
Here's to Patty. "Today's a good day to get drunk." That's always good.
Yep.
"Let's get shammered."
Okay.
"Mugs, not drugs."
Yeah.
"I love shenanigans."
Yep.
"Irish as feck." I thought that was good.
Oh, well.
"I like beer and maybe three people." That's good.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Honesty is the best policy.
These just go on. And
Okay.
One of my favorites. I like fake names. I think many people do.
Yes.
We've gone through that. "Drunky McDrunkerson."
Okay.
That's the shirt.
Okay.
I think I'm getting that one. I'll be purchasing that. "Drunky McDrunkerson."
Which one will you be asking Eowyn to wear?
You know, that's a good question. I think let's get ready to stumble.
Let's get ready to stumble. Okay.
I think that's the route.
Will she have to walk around and yell that while wearing the shirt?
Possibly.
Okay.
You know, to kind of make it fun. The other one is "This is my drinking shirt." I think that's great. You know, everybody puts a uniform on at times, but I have my drinking uniform with my shirt that says "This is my drinking shirt." So plenty of shirts to buy. You can go on all the different sites to find them, but why doesn't everyone find the shirt for them and get that out there? I will certainly see if I could get some pictures tomorrow and see if I can get some pictures of these great shirts of people jumping around. And if you have pictures to send us, put it on our social media. We'll certainly tag our podcast, and we'll certainly see if we can get some of the best ones up. But let's all be safe on St. Patrick's Day, of course. That's a big thing. But let's all have fun and get your shirt. And it's not going to cost you very much. And Ted, you can ruin this.
It is time for another Cleveland calendar. We let Jen Brasdovich off for a show because she was recovering from her participation in the NBA All-Star Slam Dunk competition. I didn't see your name there, Jen. Were you you were in the preliminaries? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I didn't make the cut. I did the preliminary
I
rounds,
see.
but I mean, from
Okay.
the feedback I've seen, maybe they could have used me.
Okay, there you go. All right. Well, on that note, let's move along here. What's coming up? Well, I know something coming up tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day.
You guys,
And
just a
all
little
that
something
stuff.
coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to have fun in Cleveland on St. Patrick's Day, or I'm sure there are some subsequent celebrations because you can't just fit it all into one day. So what do we got?
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything Cleveland does right, it's a big holiday, right? So tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day. It's going to be a big one because the St. Patrick's Day parade is returning to downtown Cleveland. Yay! First time since 2019.
Awesome.
So, I mean, it's going to be insane down there. Beautiful weather, first parade in years. It all kicks off at 1:04 p.m. at the intersection of Superior and East 18th Street in downtown Cleveland. It'll go through downtown. Huh? It's going to be great.
Great. Yeah. That's right near our office. I won't be able to get anywhere close to this building.
Well,
Okay.
you'll have a great view from up there.
That's what I'll sure. Okay.
Yeah. So that's happening 1:00. It'll go until about 3:00. And then, Clevelanders, we're pretty good at drinking. We're pretty good at having some fun. So even if you're not checking out the parade, there's a ton of stuff to do in and around Cleveland. House of Blues is going to have their St. Patty's Day party. That starts at 10 a.m. So if you're looking to get downtown, but maybe don't want to check out the parade, or maybe you head to the St. Patty's Day party and have a little too much fun at 10 a.m., that'll be happening all day with live music, free admission. Of course, we've got a ton of great Irish pubs here in Cleveland. So Flannery's on East 4th Street will have specials, Flatiron over at the Flats, the Harp on the West Side. Check out Stone Mad Pub in Gordon Square, and Parnell's in Cleveland Heights and Playhouse Square. Plenty of options for you. And then if you're wanting to get in the Irish spirit, but maybe looking for a little variety, Hofbrau House, of all places, will be hosting a St. Patrick's Day party. German Beer Hall hosting a St. Patrick's Day party, but it should be a good time. And Great Lakes Brewing is going to be hosting an all-day event on Thursday as well. So that covers us for Thursday. Now, you're going to go out on Thursday. You need Friday to recover. That's fine. Saturday, you got to get back out there, guys. Big thing happening Saturday. Jameson Cleveland St. Patrick's Day run. A 5K run sponsored by Jameson. What could go wrong?
Hold it. Hang on a minute here. Wait a minute. So people are going to go out and drink their faces off on Thursday, and then they're going to go running in a somewhat recovered condition. Is that the idea here?
Yes. Yes, exactly. Saturday. Great way to see the city, though. 5K. It starts in the Warehouse District. It's going to take you over the Detroit Superior Bridge, and it finishes in Ohio City. So you go down to Ohio City, turn around, come back to the Warehouse District. Finishers will get a t-shirt, a medal, a hat. Most importantly, at the finish line, you get a shot of Jameson. So, hair of the dog and all of that.
There's at least one person I know who will be in this race.
A great opportunity too to just hang out, support some of those local bars and restaurants in the Warehouse District in downtown Cleveland. We should still have some pretty good weather on Saturday, maybe a few rain showers, but it should be pretty fun. So those are our St. Patrick's Day events. Now, maybe you're like, I'm not Irish. I don't want to pretend to be Irish. I'm sick of drinking. I need something else to do. I don't know who you are, but maybe you're saying that. The return this weekend at the IX Center of the Cleveland Boat Show. Yay!
Oh, cool. Very nice.
We're in the 60s this week, so everyone's already looking forward to that great summer weather. And one of the coolest assets that we have here in Cleveland is our great natural assets. So we've got the Cuyahoga River and Lake Erie. And of course, we know people want to get out on the water as soon as the weather gets nice. So you can get a jump start on your summer fun at the IX Center this weekend. The boat show will be there Thursday through Sunday. Even if you're not in the market for a new boat, I'm certainly not, but it sounds kind of cool to go because you're going to get to attend educational seminars. There's going to be live music. There's going to be food, interactive exhibits. You can check out some of the boats that you probably can't afford, but are kind of fun to get on and take a look at if you're there. And the can't miss superstar of the show, guys, Twiggy the water skiing squirrel will be returning this year.
Yes.
Oh, that's outstanding. Yes.
I know. It's a big year, guys. Return of the St. Patrick's Day Parade, return of Twiggy. I mean, what more could we ask for in 2022?
100%.
And then, if you're looking for maybe some date night ideas, I've got you guys covered there too. Pretty Woman is at Playhouse Square. That's there through Sunday, March 27th. Tickets still available for all of those showings. It's based on the movie. You know, we all know and love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies, at least. And it's part of the KeyBank Broadway series, and it features music by Bryan Adams. So it's pretty cool. It's a really cool show. I've heard really great reviews of it. I'm going to go check it out on Sunday. So I'll report back. And then a really cool thing happening at the Renaissance Hotel, the Alice Immersive Cocktail Experience. This is a really cool thing if you're looking for like a unique date night idea. It's an immersive cocktail experience. It's 90 minutes long. It's Alice in Wonderland themed. So attendees will create 2 Wonderland themed cocktails. You get to solve riddles, eat some snacks, paint the roses red. I've been assured that no flamingos are hurt in the making of this experience, so you don't have to worry about that part of it. So you can make it a date night, or there are family-friendly sessions that you can attend with the kids too, if you've got kids who are Alice in Wonderland fans. So that's kind of a cool thing. It's a pop-up experience happening at the Renaissance. And then also this weekend, the Cavs have home games Friday, Saturday, and Monday. You guys, they're hot. They, you know, I don't know. We're up and down now in the post All-Star break, but I think they're going to pull it out this year. I think we're going to see a postseason from the Cavs. So great chance to get out there, get some tickets, head downtown, check out the Cavs, hit up some of our bars and restaurants down there, and cheer on the home team while we wait for the return of baseball. Just about a month away now. So lots of cool stuff happening.
That is a lot of stuff going on, and it's so nice to talk about all those things. I had the opportunity, and obviously Ted and I have another segment. It's called Ken is Around Town, Out and About. And one of the things that I was going to talk about in that segment as well, I went to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse this past weekend and went to the MAC Championship with Akron and Ken, and it was loaded up. There was a lot of people there, and the restaurants and bars were really hopping and all that. Obviously, with your position and obviously with Destination Cleveland, all that stuff, it makes it easier to talk about those things when people are out and about, correct? I mean, let's be honest.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's what we like to see. We know once the weather warms up, like that's when we really start to things ramp up downtown. Once baseball's back, I mean, it's going to be a madhouse downtown, but it's awesome to see the energy down there for All-Star Weekend, the energy down there last weekend for the MAC Championship. I think this weekend, as we're heading into St. Patrick's Day and post St. Patrick's Day, it's just electric downtown. And it's so great to see these businesses getting the business back and getting customers in there. And we're excited for what the spring and summer travel months are going to hold here in Cleveland.
Now, Jen, I don't mean to correct you here, but I believe you left off one item from the St. Patrick's Day group of things going on. I'm just going to share this with you. Downtown at a location yet to be disclosed, I'm going to be serving my special St. Patrick's Day Irish bean soup. This is a big deal.
Tell me more.
Add this to your. There's a very special.
I'll put it on our events calendar.
Yeah,
Let me know.
A very special recipe that I don't normally disclose, but I'll share it with you here. You have to take 239 Irish beans for this particular soup. Do you know why?
Tell me why.
Well, because if you add one more, it'd be 240.
Yeah, this is what I get all the time. This is why I'm glad you're on with us. So my last, geez, Louise, my last question for you. Obviously, we talked about the events for St. Patrick's Day, a couple of things coming up, obviously with certainly the Guardians coming up here pretty soon. Any other events to look out for in the next couple of months besides these?
Yes, absolutely. Just announced yesterday the return of the Juneteenth Freedom Festival. We had the first one last year on Mall C. This is going to be happening on June 18th this year. So Juneteenth, we know, is celebration of the end of slavery in America. So it's going to be a really big festival. It was huge last year, so we're excited to see it come back this year. And as we go over the next few months, we'll see some of the music acts and some of the entertainment that's going to be announced there. So that's coming up. And like you said, I mean, the Guardians will be here soon. So we're looking forward to baseball season being back. Hit or miss for a little while there, but can't wait to have that back. And yeah, as we head into that summer festival season, we're going to see more announcements coming out, I think. Cleveland International Film Festival also kicks off in a few weeks too. So for the film buffs out there, it's got a new home over at Playhouse Square. So cool thing to check out there too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. How many times are you going to tell that joke that I just shared with you? I know you're going to tell it at least once.
I'd hate
Your
to steal
husband's a
credit for
target, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I'm going to go test it out on him right now.
Okay.
I'll report back.
Okay. All right. Well, if you need me to email you the text, if you didn't get it, let me know. I'm happy to share.
I want to make sure I nailed it. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jen.
Thanks, guys.
Ted, I was out and about the last 2 weeks. I'd like to give you a full update.
Please.
And I think you can give me an update too, because if I'm not mistaken, you were also out and about.
Well, that's true. I did venture out to a couple locations. Yes.
Please please.
We went to a Monsters game.
Tell me where the heck you went.
We went
game.
Monsters game. Yeah, we lucked out and got really good tickets, center ice, about 9 rows up. It was fabulous. And the boys saw Sully again. My youngest son got to bang on the drum that Sully carries around to inspire some chanting. And they were all enamored with the Jumbotron, or whatever you call that giant thing in there.
I know how you can't. I mean, I think it's enormous.
And they were watching the game on the TV, and I kept saying the game's right in front of you. And they were like, yeah, but the TV is big. And I asked my wife, I said, do you think we could put that in our living room? She said, it's bigger than our living room. I said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
my gosh.
So yeah,
That's That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I also went to Rocket Mortgage Field House. I went to the championship game for the MAC tournament. Saw Akron and Kent. There's a lot of people there. I would say at least 4,000. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
Then we had the opportunity. Geez, it's too much. We went too much. We Ubered down. How about that? When's the last time you took an Uber?
Okay.
Uber or Lyft? Last time for you?
Never.
Okay. Well, there.
Next time would be the first time.
Never taken an Uber or Lyft?
I've never taken an Uber.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I learned something new today. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
You are Uber or Lyft. Is that what you're basically saying?
Well, sure. We'll go with, that's pretty much for my kids. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we went down there. We wanted to have a nice time, obviously be safe, have a couple drinks. So we went to a couple different places, went to Indy and 4th Street. We started off at Forest City Brewery. And then at the end of the game, we actually ended up in Barrio, which I think we've been to before, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier that week, I mean, it's a host of different places I've been. Highlights are Buckeye Beer Engine, Sibling, a couple other places. But Ted, here's a first. Okay. I am actually going to tell people where I'm going to go tonight. Tonight, I am going to go to the Pride of Erin. It's on Lorraine Avenue in Cleveland. It is the toast of St. Patrick's Day. So basically what they have is that you go there and then at midnight, you lift your beer and you toast St. Patrick's Day. It's the start of St. Patrick's Day. So
nice.
Myself and Alan will be partaking in that this evening. So if anybody else wants to meet us out there, they're more than welcome. I think we're getting there about 10 and we're going to rock it out to midnight and then I'll pass out. So, because I got to work, that certainly gets in the way from being out and about. But I will say it was nice to be out and about and see a lot of people. And I mean, a lot of people out there. Sure. All the restaurants and bars that I've been into the last 2 weeks, all throughout in Brunswick and Westlake and Rocky River and downtown Cleveland and all that, they are busy and it's great to see. Because I think we're at a point where people feel comfortable and we're about as close as I've seen in the last 2 years to normalcy. And that's just exciting stuff. So
it's awesome.
Very cool. So congrats to all those people that have made it out, to all the restaurants and bars. And once again, everyone be safe on St. Patrick's Day, but I've been out and about and I'll do it again.
Blah, blah, blah.
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 Our guest today is a former editor of Kerrang and Planet Rock magazine and a current contributor to several music magazines and outlets. He's written books about Dave Grohl, Metallica, and Motorhead frontman Lemmy. His latest biography is of arguably, and perhaps not arguably, the greatest guitarist of all time, Eddie Van Halen. The book is called Unchained. Let's talk to the author, Paul Branigan. Paul, thanks for your time. I find it interesting. You're based in the UK. So how did you talk to Eddie Van Halen a few times? How did you come up with, was it just research? How did you put this book together?
Well, it was a combination of both things. I mean, I did meet Eddie. I met him in 1998. And then I'd spoken to sort of various other people around him over the years, whether that was sort of Sammy Hagar or people who, grew up with him in the sort of California music scene. And it was a book that I'd sort of proposed to do back in like 2013. And then sort of life got in the way and it got shelved for a while. And then as it happened, I lost my job at Planet Rock magazine during the pandemic. And that was sort of a really good incentive to go back and revisit this project. Then obviously, just a few months after I restarted it, Edward sadly passed away. So, yeah, I mean, it was, it's a project that's been a long time in the making, but I was glad to have got it completed. And it was like firsthand interviews with Eddie and, people around him and people who had sort of helped him on his path to success.
Well, one thing about, certainly Eddie Van Halen, certainly the talent is just amazing. I mean, you could talk to many different artists and many different people that were around him or heard his music, and he's considered one of the best guitarists ever. Talk about what made you put the book together about Eddie, and talk about, how, when you put it together, kind of a biography, what's the process of going into that?
Well, I kind of wanted to tell like a sort of grand scale rock and roll story. And obviously the Van Halen story is very sort of much tied in with the American dream. Here was a couple of little kids who came over from Holland. They were sort of had to leave their home country really because of the racism that their mother faced over there. She was Indonesian. They came to California sort of in search of, the dream like everyone else, and sort of totally got absorbed into the culture, had their minds blown by rock and roll, and pretty much decided to export that music all over the world. So I thought it was a nice story at a time when immigrants don't always get the best press. Here's a story of, two kids who added so much to the culture and sort of represented America really on the global stage.
I know from looking through the book that Eddie, obviously his substance dependency in that battle has been well documented. You also talk about the battle that he had with David Lee Roth for, I guess, musical control of the band, or perhaps control in general of the band. Was there one, were those two intertwined? Was there one that was contributing more to the other? What can you say about those two things that Eddie Van Halen had to deal with on a daily basis at that time?
Yeah, well, I think the thing with Dave is they're very different people, and it was something of a marriage of convenience. Eddie wasn't a great sort of showman. He was quite a shy and humble guy, whereas Dave was, a sort of a superstar before he was ever a superstar. That was a nickname he had when he was a teenager, and he was just really waiting for the world to catch up. So there was some sort of conflict between the two of them. There was sort of a chalk and cheese relationship. A certain amount of jealousy, a certain amount of ego. And obviously that gets exacerbated when people start taking substances and overindulging. Eddie had his first drink when he was about 10 years old. His father gave it to him to sort of cure his nerves when he was supporting him in a music club. His father, Jan, was a musician himself. And I guess, back in those days, people didn't know too much about anxiety and didn't know too much about certainly performance anxiety. So the idea of just, here's a shot, this will get you in the mood, made perfect sense, I guess, at that time, even if he was a little kid. But obviously people think they can control that sort of thing up until a point, and then suddenly you find yourself in throes to it, and suddenly, the substances are controlling you. And there was a lot of downtime along with the sort of golden highs in the band. And when you sort of throw that together with ego, there's always going to be clashes and always going to be differences. And I guess it's something of a miracle that the band lasted as long as they did.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, to be honest with us, Paul. You hear about everything with David Lee Roth, and obviously everybody's familiar with, their music with Sammy Hagar, and obviously that ended at one point in time. But I guess my question is, you put this book together, you had some time to sit with Eddie, and then obviously after his passing, not looking to go into too much, I look forward to diving through the whole book myself. what is maybe one thing that you took out of this that you were like, wow, I really didn't know that, or one big, I guess, interesting theme or anything about him that you were like, wow, I had no idea, and it kind of, I'm not going to say blew your mind, but was super surprising.
Well, I think the thing that sort of struck home to me all the time was just how much of a pure musician Eddie was. You know, he wasn't a man who was particularly craved the spotlight. You know, he wasn't a man who particularly loved the rock and roll lifestyle. And there was sort of a purity to his musicianship that a lot of other people didn't have. And, you know, people talked about right from his teenage years, he got a guitar in his hand the whole time. He slept with a guitar, he ate with a guitar in his hand. And that was sort of, you know, his entire life. Obviously, there was a lot of troubles in there. And one thing that I think was sort of quite touching is how he was so excited about passing on his legacy to his son, Wolfgang, who obviously has his own band now, Mammoth WVH. And it's almost like, you know, the saga had been complete for Eddie. You know, he had gone through so much. When he got Wolfgang into the band and they kind of closed the circle with the Different Kind of Truth album, you could see that Eddie was sort of almost ready to pass the torch along. And Wolfgang has obviously taken that baton and ran with it. So, you know, it's a story about family, and it's a story about love, and it's a story about community, and it's a story about music and the sort of the ability of music to sort of take you out of your surroundings and you know, elevate you to a higher plane. You know, this was a guy who, from the start, he said, you know, I'm not good with words. I let my guitar do the talking. And so, you know, obviously you've got a motor mouth lead singer in the band. You're going to let him do all the sort of, you know, the limelight hogging. But all the time, you know, Eddie was there driving the band forward. And, you know, the music was the thing that captivated him from the start. And I think when everyone has an image of Eddie Van Halen, they think of this smiling kid standing on the stage, looking down at his fingers, almost in wonderment at the magic that's pouring forth from the guitar in his hand. And I think that's a nice image to have. You know, I sort of mentioned like he was, you know, Peter Pan. He was a kid who learned to fly but never grew up. And so, you know, for me, that's the abiding image. And I'm glad that, you know, as many troubles as it was in his life, that he got back to sort of peace and contentment and got to see Wolfgang again fly on his own.
As you did your research for the book, was there anybody who, what was the reaction of people when you contacted them to talk to them, to interview them and get information? Was there anybody who, you know, were most of them very excited to participate? Was there anybody who didn't really have much to say? What can you say about some of the participants?
I mean, I guess it's a mixture, you know. I mean, I spoke to a lot of guitar players, and I spoke to Sammy Hagar, who was really sort of, you know, informative and instructive and had a lot of good insights. Other people didn't want to get involved. You know, David Lee Roth, who spoke to his management, and they didn't want to know about it. And obviously the Van Halen family, it's quite a tight ship. You know, didn't have a lot of outsiders involved in the organization. You know, they had guitar techs who were with the band sort of 20, 30 years, who had been at school with Edward and Alex. So I understand that certain people are sort of reticent about getting involved, particularly when it's, you know, some stranger from overseas wanting to sort of probe, you know, the sort of relationship they had with Eddie. But a lot of people, you know, enjoyed sort of sharing their stories, you know, and it was nice to talk to people like Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley and Scott Gorham and Joe Perry and all these sort of legendary guitar players who really had a lot of respect for Eddie and, you know, were heartbroken, obviously, later, you know, at his passing. I didn't speak to them after his passing, but you could tell the respect that he was held in. And, you know, it's just nice when you start pulling all the strands together and you start to have this sort of 3D picture of the artist away from the sort of cliches of, you know, the rock and roll monster. So that for me was a sort of refreshing part of the story, seeing everybody with pretty much only good things to say about the guy.
Oh, I guess one of the last questions I have, obviously you write a story about somebody and you've had the opportunity to talk to so many artists and things like that. I guess my question for you, how big of a fan were you of Van Halen and Eddie Van Halen and things like that? And is that part of the reason you wanted to put the book together?
I mean, I was a Van Halen fan. I sort of got introduced to the band by a school friend when I was about 13 or 14. And obviously the first 6 Van Halen albums with David Lee Roth are just absolute classics. You know, I've got to admit, the Sammy era wasn't quite the same for me because it was quite slick and it was quite sort of grown up, but I still liked sort of filthy rock and roll, and Guns N' Roses were around at that point to sort of take up the baton at that point. But, you know, I have a huge amount of respect for Eddie. And, you know, I've been interviewing musicians for the last sort of 25 years. And one thing that's interesting is for all the musicians that Eddie influenced, there was equally sort of thousands of musicians who were so intimidated by his guitar playing that they decided to do something else. So, you know, there's a lot of musicians came through in what we call the alternative rock boom of the 1990s. And all those guys, when you speak to them, from, you know, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine to Adam Jones from Tool to Page Hamilton from Helmet, you know, they all looked at Eddie Van Halen and were like, oh my God, there's no way I can do that. So I'm going to find my own voice. And I think Eddie would have appreciated that in his own way, because it was through a guitar that he found his own voice. So not everyone can be Eddie Van Halen, and there'll never be another Eddie Van Halen. But I think the message to take away is, you know, there are no rules. Be yourself, find your voice. And that's what's going to, you know, what people want to hear.
So you mentioned that you were not able to talk to David Lee Roth or really anybody in the band. You mentioned that you talked to Sammy Hagar. Does only being able to talk to one or maybe a handful of people who were directly involved in the band, does that make it more difficult to write this story?
I mean, it does, but obviously there's quite a lot of, you know, press that the band have done over the years. So you're able to sort of pull some of that stuff together to flesh out the picture. I mean, in an ideal world, absolutely, you'd be able to talk to the whole band. But I mean, sadly, there are no authorized Van Halen biographies. And, you know, Eddie himself was in talk with a journalist called Stephen Rosen, who he really liked at one point in the mid-80s, to tell his story. And that fell through. And actually, Stephen Rosen is going to put out his own book now in April or May called Tone Chaser. And that'll be an interesting read. So, yeah, absolutely, it would be, you know, fascinating to get the full picture, the 360 picture, and, you know, to see everyone's different perspectives on things that happened throughout the band's life. But, you know, as a biographer, you get used to sort of there being certain barricades, and you do your best to pull things together with the material that's out there and other sources. And, you know, sometimes bands, when they're young and wild and carefree, they don't mind what they're telling people. But as they get older and have wives and children and investments, they're very much a lot more guarded. So I'm not sure that even if you do get to speak to everybody, you're ever going to get the whole truth anyway.
Well said. Well said. Well, where can folks find this book if they're interested in reading it?
Well, I guess it's available from, you know, most online stores, the traditional places, Amazon and, you know, Barnes and Noble and whatever. It's also available in the Van Halen store, which, you know, a really well-run resource for Van Halen fans. So maybe that's the place to go. But, you know, wherever you pick it up, or even if you pick it up from a library, I'll be happy that if people are reading these words, because, you know, the book was a long time in the making. And, you know, I'm kind of proud that it's out there, really. And it's, you know, my little bit of sort of keeping the memory of that legend alive.
All right. So Dave Grohl, Metallica, Lemmy from Motorhead, and now Eddie Van Halen. Who's next?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to jinx it because I haven't signed the contract just yet. But I did sort of agree to do another book just last week, and it's on a huge English rock band, a legendary band, maybe the most legendary after the Beatles. So I'll say no more than that because I don't want to have bad luck when I say it before the deals are signed. But yeah, hopefully that'll come together, and that could even be out by the end of this year.
Wow. Okay.
That's awesome.
We'll look forward to that, and we appreciate it. The name of the book is Unchained, the Eddie Van Halen story. And Paul Branigan is the author with us from the UK. Paul, thanks so much for your time. A great read, and we look forward to hearing more about your work.
Thank you very much, Jens. It's a pleasure to speak to you, and thank you for giving me the platform to talk about the book.
Ted, we have some good news. A bronze bell. What? Who?
I said, okay.
God bless.
I was acknowledging you.
I'm not used to it. That's why I said something. A bronze bell cast in 1834 in Paul Revere's foundry is finally back home.
Yeah.
The bell was taken by ox cart to churches in Ohio, including the First Presbyterian Church of Cleveland. Then in 1984, Janine.
Sure. Janine.
Janine Shanks received the bell after making a $1,000 donation to the First Baptist Church in Vermilion. Shanks and her husband later retired to California and took the 1,000-pound bell with them. Shanks' daughter eventually wound up with it and did some research to find out where it was forged. She has now donated it back to the Paul Revere Heritage Site in Canton, Massachusetts, just south of Boston, where Revere's son, Joseph Warren Revere, made it. Wow, how about that? That's really cool.
What are you going to take across the country when you move? I'm taking my 1,000-pound bell.
Taking it with me.
Yeah, why not?
Unbelievable.
Now,
have
you ever ridden in an ox cart?
I'm pausing because I want to say yes.
Really?
Yeah, one point in time.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to one of those. Obviously, it's not medieval. What is that called?
It's another out and about.
Yankee Peddler. I think the Yankee Peddler Festival at one point in time, they had ox carts you can get a ride in. That's way back in the day.
Okay.
Way back.
All right. Excellent.
Well, Ted, that was some great news.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Another history lesson in Cleveland sports history with our expert, which it could only be Mr. Dusty Sloan. Dusty, I have a great topic for us to talk about this week. I know this is a fan favorite of Ted's. So we move to 1961, March 21st. That is when, I know he's one of your favorite people, Art Modell purchased the Cleveland Browns for the then record sum of $3,925,000.
A day that will live in infamy.
It most certainly will, gentlemen. And the reason why it will is obviously we all know that we didn't have the team for 3 years because of Mr. Modell. And a lot of people have their opinions on what happened and who's to blame and all that other stuff. But certainly Art Modell and his inability to be a very good businessman certainly is at the top of that list. But yes, he did purchase the Browns in 61. He did fire Paul Brown. He did win a championship in 64, but he didn't do a whole lot besides that. And I know a lot of people give him credit for the television contract and things that we have even to this day, but winning only one championship and firing Paul Brown and moving the team, I think that kind of circumvents all of that.
That's not a resume that anybody in Cleveland would aspire to have. Now, Art Modell, prior to purchasing the Browns, was not involved in pro sports, really, was he?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, he didn't like we say, he was a businessman first and foremost, and it was just amazing that as soon as he took over the team, and I think they were doing him a favor. You guys remember all the time when during the Bernie days and the winning and everything, and NBC would have a game and we'd score a touchdown and they always go to show him in the owner's box. They don't do that they do it to Jerry Jones now, but I mean, that just seemed very odd to me growing up as a kid, having touchdowns scored by the Browns, and you're not focusing on the field, you're focusing on the owner's box.
Yeah, that is a little bit different, but that's, you got to remember who put those together. And I imagine those guys said, hey, make sure you show us throughout the game so people remember who we are. I bet you that's how that went.
Now, I'm sure he had quite an ego on him.
Well, let's be honest, Dusty, to purchase, I don't know if there's any team now, even outside the big three, that you could purchase for $3,925,000. If I'm not mistaken, the Browns are worth, I don't know, close to what? Almost
maybe a billion?
Almost $1 billion now. I mean,
yeah. I mean, heck.
You got to think about as a business person, you buy a team for $3 million, and I can't even remember what he sold it for, obviously when he moved it and all that kind of stuff, but obviously he got a chunk of change from that.
He sure did. And I'll tell you, even the USFL, Fox buys that for $150 million. So you can't even get that for $4 million anymore. So the times have changed.
You can't even get an announcer for that amount of money. I mean, look what Troy Aikman and Joe Buck just signed their contracts for. That's unbelievable. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, Mr. Modell, there's a lot of debate. Should he be in the Hall of Fame? And I know to this point that has not happened. You have any thought on that, Dusty?
Oh, I do, but we want to keep this family friendly. So my answer to that question is no.
Okay.
I think there's many others in the same boat as you. Certainly some old Cleveland writers and all that feel the same way and have not voted for him. He's been up a couple times. Is he not? I believe at this point in time, he's had his last opportunity. Has he not? I don't know if he could be on the ballot anymore.
Yeah, he's not been part of the finalist list for the Hall of Fame for a while. So whatever veterans mechanism they have, he's going to have to go through that route.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right. Well, Dusty, a little history on arguably the most hated owner in Cleveland sports history. I don't know. I think Ted Stepien gives him a run for his money, but
I would agree.
yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Dusty.
Thanks, guys.
Cleveland! This is for you!
The most trusted name in journalism, Klopp's Klips.
Ken, are you ready? Here we go with the news you need. The oil can that the Tin Man used in the Wizard of Oz is going up for auction next week. It's said to be the only original item from the character's costume, and Cruise GWS Auctions expects the oil can to bring in at least $200,000. 200 grand.
Huh.
Also in this auction, a pair of sunglasses worn by Elvis. They're black with 14 karat gold lightning bolt accents and his initials EP in white gold on the bridge. The aviators should go for about 25 grand.
Wow.
Will you be purchasing or bidding on either of those items?
I'm going to think about it.
Okay.
Not sure. I don't know
Okay.
how. Are you into the Wizard of Oz? Is that your gig?
I'm not that into the Wizard of Oz. I mean, I like
Yeah,
the
it
movie,
seems
but
a
I
little
don't need the oil can. I can get an oil can for a lot less down the street.
Oil Can Boyd.
Yeah, sure. A plant-based pet food company offering pet owners $6 grand to test their product for 2 months. Part of the test requires the owners to monitor their pets' bowel movements and stool color.
Oh boy. No.
$6 grand to smell
No.
dog poop for 2 months.
No.
You need
Nope.
you need $6 grand that bad.
Wow. That's,
UK-based Omni Pet Food will also give dogs who make the change to the plant-based diet for the 2 months a supply of dog toys and vegan treats.
Wow.
How bad do you
I'm
want
good.
$6 grand?
I have a dog and I love her to death, but I'm not. I'm not doing
Gonna
that.
smell the
That's-
dog's poop?
That's. I'm not
A little
going for
much?
that. I'm
Okay.
good.
A box full of human heads stolen
Oh.
from a truck in Colorado. Let me say that one more time in case you think you misheard me. A box full of human heads was stolen from a truck in Colorado. The heads
Okay.
were being moved and used for medical research. Apparently, they were in a box labeled exempt human specimen. The investigation into who took the heads continues.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody
Human
needed
heads.
a head, I guess. Maybe wanted to
I
get
guess
a
so.
head. I don't know. A man trying to cross the Mexico-U.S. border into the United States recently was pulled aside for additional inspection. That's when agents found 9 snakes and 43 horned lizards tied in small bags and hidden in the guy's jacket, pants pocket, and groin area.
Oh my gosh.
A 30-year-old carrying the animals, some of which are endangered. The guy was arrested. Apparently, he's endangered now, too.
Yeah, he's about done.
Yeah.
I hope his groin was bit.
He-
That's where I'm at.
Don't put the horned frogs down there and make sure the snakes aren't hungry, I guess.
That's sad.
Is that a snake? Never mind. A Florida
Trouser?
man.
Is that what you're looking for? Is that the name of the snake? Trouser snake? Is that what you're saying?
A Florida man was crushed to death by a bulldozer while using a porta potty. The accident. Now, let me
wow.
just pause here. You know, normally death is not really a funny subject, but you know, this is kind of different. The accident
Certainly.
in Orlando happened when a bulldozer operator started up an embankment with its front blade up far enough to block part of its front view. As the dozer reached level ground, the driver turned and heard a loud crunch.
Oh,
That's when he discovered he had driven over the porta potty that he hadn't seen. 40-year-old Aaron Henderson died on the scene.
oh my Lord. That's not the way you want to go. Let's be honest. The poor guy is trying to do a job and literally gets run over. If I had a choice of how I can go, it wouldn't be that way.
Wouldn't be running
No.
over? Okay, I will
No.
cross that. Don't run over Ken with a
No.
porta potty when he's
My gosh.
ready to go.
Well, that's
All
going
right.
to be a couple lawsuits there, don't you think?
Yeah, probably. A 49-year-old Iranian man is recovering after he apparently he apparently shoved a AA battery up his male member.
Come on, man.
He showed up at the emergency room 24 hours later looking for help. Doctors were able to remove the battery, but the man noted pain and problems going to the bathroom during a follow-up visit. Imagine that. Doctors identified scar tissue caused by the toxic chemicals in the battery as the likely cause. Surgery to remove the tissue took care of the problem. He says he's okay. No word on what motivated the phallic fiasco.
Did he lose a fantasy football bet? Is that what that was?
I don't know.
What? I mean, how descriptive. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a AA battery
AA battery.
in his male member.
Yeah. Because AAA
Wow.
is just not big enough, apparently.
No, I guess that is just odd behavior. I obviously there's got to be a reason for that. I would say drinking.
Well,
Drinking heavily.
one thing I know is that is not going to be a story used in conjunction with the Energizer Bunny.
They're not going to do commercials.
That
with
one
that?
would not keep going and going and going and going. Nor will this week's collection of Klopp's Klips. Time for another history lesson involving our fine city of Cleveland. And to give that lesson, our Cleveland historian, John Grabowski, is back with us. And today's topic is the Higbee Building, which now houses the relatively new Jack Casino. But John, this Higbee Building is steeped in history. And was it originally built as the home of the department store, or did it have another job before then?
Well, it was actually built as part of the Cleveland Union Terminal Plan, and the story is the Van Swearingens, who had built that, basically inveigled the Higbee Company, which was then really out on East 13th Street in Euclid, right across from its main competitor, Halley's, to come back to the west part of Cleveland and set up shop in that building. It's really interesting because Howard and Higbee, the origin company, starts in 1860. And it starts on Superior around West 3rd Street. So it's actually sort of bouncing back and forth down the street. But it's a prime location. And one of the reasons the Vans wanted a department store down there is their Shaker Rapid line went to Shaker Heights, which was the toniest suburb in Cleveland. And so all somebody had to do to get to go shopping was get on the Shaker Rapid and went right into Union Terminal. And the Union Terminal connected directly to the Higbee Building. So it was, sort of one-stop shopping, if you will. And, that's the building that's really iconic, not only in terms of its structure, but in terms of its interior. But also it's this, it's the Christmas Story movie as well that comes out of this. So it has a deep part of I think the nostalgia of our 1950s and 1940s Cleveland. But when Higbee's comes out into this building, this is the early 20th century is the rise of the modern department store. I mean, there were earlier ones in New York, but this is what you see in a department store. It is a store with departments that sell a number of goods. So you no longer need to go to a men's clothier or women's clothier or some other. You can find it all in one place. That's the issue. And probably the most fondly remembered part of the Higbee building is the Silver Grill, which was up on the 10th floor. Now that's still there and it's periodically opened over time. Some of the furniture from the Silver Grill is part of the collection of the Western Reserve Historical Society. So, and this gets into a deeper story of department stores in Cleveland. The toniest ones were probably Halley's and Higbee's. And, May Company was a little bit of downscale, and there were Bailey's, which is a little further downscale. And if you wanted to really shop cheaply, you went to the basement sales in May Company. I mean, so all of these had their clientele, but, all of them in the Christmas season in particular decorated their windows. And so that's the nostalgia memory. The irony for this now is that it is a casino. Higbee's was, in part bought by Dillard's. And also DiBartolo was there, and they actually was sold to Dillard's in 1987. And by this time, Higbee's had moved out to the suburbs. There were 6 suburban stores, and eventually that grew to 14 stores in northeastern Ohio. And the whole system was rebranded as Dillard's in 1992. And the main store closed in 2002. And that was a real hit to downtown.
Yep.
The May Company as well. And it becomes a casino, Horseshoe Casino in 2012, which gets rebranded as the Jack Casino. And I always say this when I talk about Cleveland's Public Square, which is our symbol of a New England city. New Englanders were very, very askance about gambling. And so the irony is that we have a sort of a New England style public square with a church on one side and a casino on the other. And I think that would have some of the founders of Cleveland rolling over in their graves right now.
I would agree with that. John, it's so funny you mentioned about the Christmas story, because the Higbee building, I didn't spend a lot of time there. I was there at one point in time, but when you watch that story, you can see, obviously even with the Jack Casino now, you can see the certainly all the different layouts and things like that. To your knowledge, John, I'm not sure if you're going to know this, when they were converting everything to the Jack Casino, were they trying to keep things kind of similar to what they did with the Higbee building, or the design they came up with said, well, this is the best we can do and all that? What do you know?
I'm not certain, but I think there's a lot of the ambiance of the old building that is still there. The fact that the grill, I think, still is available for rental sort of indicates that. I mean, if you own a big part of local nostalgia that still has marketability, I don't think you do away with it. And it is, of course, a landmark structure in its own right as well. My story about the Higbee building was, when I was young, I found that I think it was on one of the floors, there was a direct access to Cleveland Union Terminal. So you could walk into the terminal. And what I and a good friend would do is we'd walk into the terminal, we'd get on the staircase and walk up to the observation deck.
Wow.
We couldn't get in because the deck door was alarmed, but yeah, it's all part of this Van Swearingen empire, which is just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, I know two of my biggest memories of the Higbee building are walking in on that first floor where all the cosmetics counters were, and that ceiling just seemed like it was in the sky. Yeah. It was just huge. Yeah. And then I was always fascinated by the escalators, the wooden escalators as opposed to the small metal teeth. The wooden escalators had much wider, big teeth. I guess, I don't know if that's what you call them, but as they would slide together, a small child, I think, could get lost in there in those escalators. Sometimes they were quite unique to downtown.
Yeah, and there at one time elevators were served by elevator operators too. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know sometimes you get in an elevator and there'll be a lot of people, and you'll say, "Oh, third floor, men's furnishings, men's clothes, things like that." Yeah. And young people now they look at you like, well, if they look up from their cell phones, they have no idea what you're talking about. But well, good stuff, John. Thanks for enlightening us with additional knowledge on one of the iconic buildings in downtown Cleveland, the Higbee building. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Ted, overachiever segment. Here we go.
Okay.
A 7-year-old from India
Yeah.
has broken a Guinness World Record, unbelievable, by identifying 60 DC Comics characters from photos in 1 minute. Huh.
Wow. One
That's pretty
character a
impressive.
second. Yeah.
It's impressive. The previous high watermark was 52 ID'd in a minute.
Okay.
Congratulations. 7 years old.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. I mean, I want to
didn't
hear
know
him do it. That would just Iron Man, Superman,
Yeah.
Batman. Well,
I didn't know there were 60 DC comic characters,
I didn't know
to be
either.
honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Well, we have another one. This
Oh.
segment is just getting bigger and bigger. There's a mountain climber from Seattle who also owns a new world record. This one is for hosting the world's highest tea party.
Oh,
Andrew Hughes and his team had the hot beverages and some Girl Scout cookies at 21,312 feet above sea level at the summit of Mount Everest.
huh. Wouldn't it be tough to breathe?
So it seems like a long way to go just for a little tea party.
You have to wear like a special oxygen mask.
I
or
don't know.
something?
I don't know.
Then I don't
I
even
probably-
know how you eat the cookies.
I probably would need an oxygen mask.
And then your tea would be cold, would it not?
Probably. Yeah. I don't know.
That's impressive.
Well, so identifying DC Comics characters and having a high tea party. Just some overachievers.
Oh no, not a dad joke.
What's green and sits outside?
Oh, this will be a St. Patrick's Day thing. Green and sits outside. I'm not sure.
Patio furniture.
Oh,
That joke was horrible.
Coming to the end of episode 84 and lots of St. Patrick's Day stuff coming up here in the city of Cleveland. I don't know how this is going to go with this parade this year. This could be one of the biggest parades of all time because people have missed it for a couple of years.
great weather. And they basically have been pent up for 2 years for this day.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, it could get aggressive. Not violent aggressive, but aggressive, meaning that's going to be a lot of aggressive drinking. That's what I think is going to happen. So
Will you be doing some aggressive drinking?
no, I have to be a good salesperson for the company I work for. And then obviously I have to take care of my young children that night on St. Patrick's Day, but we'll probably do something cool. But no, as I mentioned tonight, I'm going to go to the Pride of Erin and do the toast of St. Patrick's Day on Lorraine Avenue. So that'll be the closest I get. How about you? You got anything? Will you do anything? You just, while you're working throughout the day, you'll take a quick shot of Jameson or something. You got anything like that?
You know what I'm going to do. I do the same thing every year.
Work.
I wear green underwear.
Oh, that's just a rotation. It's not like
It
anything
is, yes.
special from
It's,
St. Patrick's
once a
Day.
year. Yep.
That's
I
always the
think I have
best,
some
Joe.
green socks that I
Yeah.
have too.
Yep. You're not wearing any green. Well, it's not green that you
Yeah.
can see.
Yeah, you can't
that's
see it.
a famous joke.
Yep.
Famous.
That's it. On that note, I will just ask you, do you know what ghosts drink on St. Patrick's Day?
Ghosts on St. Patrick's Day. No.
Booze.
Oh my gosh. Well, Ted, with that, once again, everyone be safe for St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy yourselves. And thanks to all the guests that we had this past week as well. A host of folks, and thank you for being a part of it. And once again, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And Ted, just a reminder, we're just two middle-aged men in Cleveland.
Two Middle-Aged Men in Cleveland is sponsored by Westminster AV, custom audio-visual packages for all occasions.
You know what you call an Irish spider?
No?
Patty Longlegs.